Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneur Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Listen, today I am extremely excited. I've got a fellow student, a former student, fellow podcaster, Elijah Foreman. Come to the platform, brother. Talk to me.
Mr. Kev, what's going on? How you feeling?
I am doing well, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I can't complain.
Good.
I cannot complain at all.
Good. That's what I want to hear. So let's do this before we get started, because I know we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to cover. Let's go to the beginning. No, and when I say the beginning, I mean the end for us now. Where are you in your podcasting life? Let's talk about that first, and then we'll go back to the beginning.
Well, I'm actually starting on something new when it comes down to the podcasting thing. Yes. Quick shout out to Frank Sasso and the new Pod City family over there. They introduced me to the podcasting world. I put out about 56 episodes under that platform.
Yes. And
recently I left that platform and I'm starting new under my guy, Mr. Kevin Wortham, and the Minding Our Business Inc. family, which I never left. I've always been there. So, it was only right to, come back home, so to speak.
Absolutely. And we're going to try to not try to do you right. We're going to do you right, beloved. So I'm glad to have you a part of the family, man. And we definitely want to make sure that people are listening to your podcast, because it's certainly going to be very informative. So what is your podcast? What is your platform all about, man?
Well, the show is called Unapologetic, and, basically it's for the creatives.
Yes.
I showcase authors, I showcase, musicians, whether you're a rapper, singer, maybe you're a music producer, you play an instrument, I do it all.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things to do on the show, I have a piece where I do segments.
Yes.
Where I'll say look out for this. That's one of my segments where I'm talking about a new project that's coming out, whether it be a movie or an album that I'm excited about. I'll talk about it, give my input, and get people excited for it. I do a author of the week.
Yes. Where
I pick an author per week and just speak about their career. If I have any history with them, I'll speak about the history I have and, what type of author they are, what genre they write in, stuff like that. And then the last one is probably the most exciting. That's called the Life Artist Spotlight. And this is where I speak about some of my greatest, I don't like to say idols, but some of my favorite people.
Okay.
When it comes to the business. I've done a spotlight on Tyler Perry. I did one on Will Smith pre-slap. I did one on recently. I did one on LL Cool J. Wesley Snipes, Samuel L. Jackson. This is a lot of different people.
Okay.
So, you have that portion of the show. And then I also have two extensions, one being at the table and another one being in my opinion.
Yes.
At the table, I have one-on-one interviews with authors and, musicians and things of that nature, where we just sit down and we talk one-on-one, and I speak on their, career and,
Yes.
Their journey, things of that nature. And we have a ball, man. I talk for as long as we can talk. I've had interviews for as long as like 3.5 hours.
That's what's up, man. That's what so I love that. And I love that about the podcast, man, because you can just chop it up for as long as it takes. Because, with my platform, we talk about the unabridged version. Let's have that unabridged conversation, and we'll keep rolling until we can't roll no more. So I love that about you, and I love that about podcasting. But let me ask this question. And you might have touched on it, but why did you get into podcasting? What was going on at that time that you thought it was good for you to get into podcasting?
Man, you know what? COVID would have to be to blame for that one.
Yes,
when
sir.
COVID started, I spent a lot of time at home,
Yes.
if I wasn't out working or anything like that. And YouTube is probably one of my most favorite websites to jump on. I don't watch much cable TV at all.
Yes.
So one thing I watched a lot of during 2020 was podcasts.
Okay.
There's a podcast out called Drink Champs
Yes.
that I watched a lot of. $1 Million Worth of Game is another one. Mike Tyson has a podcast now. I was watching his stuff.
Okay.
And there's about maybe 5 or 6 others that I really followed and, really just watched from episode to episode.
Yes.
And became a fan of it.
Yes.
Now, in the midst of that, right before COVID, we were doing the adult program with
Yes.
MOB.
Yes.
One night, Frank Sasso came down.
Yes.
And, I got a chance to meet him,
Yes.
spoke about his career, things of that nature,
Yes.
and he gave me his contact info.
Yes.
I kept it. I didn't know if I was ever going to use it.
Yes.
A year later, we're in the thick of COVID, and I'm just watching one of these shows one night, and I look over to my lady, and I say, man, I could do that.
Yes.
I could do that. Just a random thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she looked at me and said, yeah, you probably could. As much as you talk about these podcasts, you probably could have your own show.
Yeah. Yeah.
That same night, I go on Instagram,
Yes.
and Frank posted a picture of his newly remodeled studio.
Yes.
I hit him up that night.
Okay.
We spoke on Instagram. We had a meeting maybe 2 days later,
Yes.
and the rest is history from there.
Wow. Wow. You live and you learn.
Yeah.
And similar story for me, right? Going through COVID, and as Rick Foreman would say, what's your pivot? And I had no pivot at that time. And so we did some online programming. And in that space was also CJ and Tracy Syfax. And I did a few interviews with them for their podcast. And then
Right.
I think Frank invited us, Quayshawn and I, to come out and do one of his podcasts. And I says, wow, I love this. I think I can do this, similar to what your response was. I think I can do this. So I signed up and became a podcaster. And now I'm in my third season, doing my own thing now. And I love it. And so I've always tell people, God bless the child who has his or her own equipment. But I thank you for the wonderful,
Absolutely.
I thank you for the wonderful experience that I've gathered at that time. So now that you're doing the podcasting, what happens to the other part of your life that you didn't mention, and that's the part of you writing books? Where are we with that now?
Writing books has always been there.
Yes.
I took a year off in 2021,
Okay.
and that was really only because I wanted to learn as much as I could about podcasting.
Okay.
And much like you just said about the equipment, when I was doing my show with New Pod, I did like 6 episodes in their studio.
Yes.
And then, you know, due to scheduling issues and things like that, I wasn't able to book the studio anymore.
Yes.
So I was at a crossroads.
Yes.
And I had to, like everybody else, I had to jump on Amazon and price that Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah.
I had to pay my, you know, almost $600 or whatever the case may be for it. And it took about a week to get to me. And then now I'm looking at this box.
Yes.
I pull it out and I plug everything in. And I'm like, I have no idea how to use this thing.
Got you.
So I spent about another week on YouTube just watching, you know, video tutorials and things of that nature.
Yes.
And, you know, after a while, I caught on.
Excellent.
And then from there, I just started doing it on my own.
Excellent.
So that's what I spent the entire year dealing with.
And for me, Elijah, it was something similar. So I placed my order, but because of COVID, the backlog, it took me 3 months to get my equipment.
Oh,
so
wow.
I got the, not the board, but I got my headsets and my microphone. I got them in 7 to 10 days.
Okay.
It was, and then I got my carrying case. I got that maybe 3 weeks later. But the board, it took 3 months to get the board. It took 3 months to get the board. Yeah, but listen, I am so excited, and every day I turn on my equipment and my makeshift studio, and I get so excited. So wow.
Listen, it's nothing like being mobile. Well, it's nothing like being mobile, man.
But more,
nothing at all.
But more importantly than being mobile is nothing like having your own and doing your own. And you know, and one of the things that I know you're gonna love is you never want to screw, and that's not the word I want to say, but for this, you never want to screw with an entrepreneur, because
absolutely not.
We will find a way to figure it out. You know, so don't ever think that you are handicapping us, right? You are delaying us, but you're never handicapping us. So it has been a wonderful experience for me. I'm glad that I waited, because now I've got my own equipment. I am taping like 7 to 10 episodes a week, right? And I've gone from one episode, or releasing one episode a week, to where I release 3 a week. And then on the last Friday of each month, I do a double drop. And the response and the engagement has been fantastic, man. We've got about 13,000 people that are actively following us. And it took me a long time.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, it took me a long time to get to those numbers, man. And that's a whole nother podcast. And you know, and we want to keep this podcast very positive, so we don't want to get into any negativity. But it took me a long time to build legitimate, genuine followers. So I'm just so grateful to my equipment. But you know what? Let me stop. Let me just give a shout out, right?
Right.
Gotta give a shout out to my man Ed Miller. Ed Miller from Pro Tapes. He's been rocking with me.
What's going on, Ed?
Yes, sir. He's been rocking with me and the Mining Our Business program, the Entrepreneur Enclave, for at minimum of 7 years. So I thank him for his support. I thank him for his dedication. And I just thank him for allowing me to have this freestyle of just interviewing entrepreneurs from various backgrounds. So we've got some other things coming along, but this is our first foray in terms of reigniting this whole entrepreneurial energy, right? But I digress. But yeah, so let's talk about the beginning, Foreman, Elijah. I'm sorry, sir, as to how we met, when we met, and what was that all like? Because I want folks to know that part too, man.
Oh man, you talking about almost 20 years ago?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I literally thought about that the other day and bugged out about it. I'm like, man, it's really almost been 20 years since I've been a part of Minding Our Business.
Yes,
next year will be 20 years.
Wow. So we got an anniversary coming up.
Yeah.
That's what's up,
absolutely,
man. So I met you. You were what, 8th grade or 7th grade?
No, I was way younger than that. You walked into PJ Hill Elementary School. I was in the 5th grade.
Whoa.
I was getting ready to graduate elementary school.
Wow. That's wow. And so what was the pitch? Did Dr. Hernandez have a pitch for you? Did I have a pitch for you? What did we say to encourage you?
Man, you know my story already. I said it 100 times at fundraisers and stuff like that. I was a kid. So, you know, when Mr. Kev and Dr. Hernandez walked in, they start pitching the program and things like that, what you could learn.
Yes.
And the last thing they said was that you could make some money this summer. Light bulb.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There we go. I don't have to go to no regular summer camp and do regular summer camp stuff. I could make some money. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. I'm signing up.
What was your first business, Elijah?
My first business was school supplies.
Yes, school supplies.
I
right?
do not remember the name of the business, but I do remember the slogan, more bang for your buck.
Yes.
But school supplies, man.
And then I think you were a part of us doing we started to do the year-round programming, where we had the little storefront down on West Front Street or Front Street downtown Trenton. And
man, let me tell you something. I don't like to toot my own horn, but you know how Jerry West is the logo of the NBA?
Yes.
I personally feel like I might have to be the logo at MOB. I did every program in MOB except for the spring program.
Yes.
So I was in the summer camp. I did the advanced program.
Yes.
I did the storefront.
Yes.
And I was also part of the adult program.
Yes. And we're gonna bring the adult program back sometime in September. But yeah. So man, wow, we got history, bro. We have got history. But let me ask this question, Elijah. Since you are in business, since you've been in business, what has been your number one challenge?
Wow. Probably for my type of business, the number one challenge is just keeping people engaged.
Okay.
Because when you look at the book game, it's very easy to fall off.
Yes.
You know, and that has to do with consistency, right?
Yes.
You know, when you write a book and you publish it and you take maybe 4 or 5 months to put another book out, there's about 1,000 authors that have popped up in those 4 or 5 months with new work.
Yes.
And, you know, these readers, I don't want to call them flip-floppy because that's not them. It's just the fact that they have so many different options.
Yes.
They can go to the right or left at any moment.
Yes. Now,
you know, so
where do you find your motivation? Where do you find your inspiration for writing these books?
I love it. I didn't step into the business for money. That's what makes it different for me.
Okay.
Because I see a lot of people who stepped into it for money and they fail fast.
Yes.
You know, the reason why I'm 29 books in is because I love it first.
Yes.
You know, I already knew the money was going to come.
Yes.
Because I was around a group of people when I got my first publishing deal that was making a lot of money.
Yes.
So I knew it was around. I just had to, you know, plant my flag and start building my own brand.
Okay.
And I knew it would come eventually. And I'm still building.
Yeah. On the publishing side, right? Any regrets? Or no, let me take that back. On the publishing and or the pure entrepreneurial side, any regrets that you've had thus far?
The only regret I probably have, which is a cardinal rule.
Yes.
Read that contract.
Got you. Read the contract. Read the fine print.
Read the contract. If you don't understand anything in that contract, take it to somebody who knows somebody that can help you understand.
Yes.
Don't you put your name on a contract and you don't understand what you're reading.
Got you. Now,
that's a universal lesson.
Now, hold that thought. What were some of your greatest takeaways within the MOB program?
Wow. You know what? When I look back on the MOB program and quick sidebar, I'm probably going to say this next week. We have a big block party coming up. I'm excited about that.
Well, don't say that because this won't drop next week.
Oh, well,
yeah. So don't
we
say
had
that.
a block party.
Yeah. We had a block party. Yeah.
Really just the family, the feeling of a family, being around a family.
Got you.
Really, a lot of the people that I sat in those classrooms with, I still have some type of contact with today.
Gotcha. I love it.
We don't talk every day.
Yes.
But when I see them, it's almost like we're the same 12 and 13-year-olds that were running around in those classrooms back then.
Now, Foreman, how old are you now, if I may ask?
I just turned 30.
Wow, man! Happy birthday! Wow, we've been rocking for a long time, and that's what I'm telling people, that one of the things I love about MOB, and one of the reasons why we did the block party was because there were students that I met when they were 5 and 6 years, fifth or sixth grade, and now these are grown men and women with their own families, their own careers. What does that look like? What does that feel like? I am ecstatic, man. So I am so excited, right? So I love it. I love it. And
another thing, real quick, I believe I have a different connection with MOB because in 2010, when I was 18, I lost my mother.
Yes.
And at that time, I was in a fog, right?
Yes.
One of the main people that kept in contact with me and made sure that I wasn't falling completely off the deep end was Mr. Kev.
Yes, sir.
And, whether it was phone calls or social media or seeing each other in person, he always kept in touch with me.
Yes, sir.
And made sure that I was doing something constructive, keeping myself busy,
yes, sir.
Keeping myself positive.
Yes, sir.
So, that kind of solidified my connection with MOB even more,
yes,
especially going into adulthood.
And I thank you, but I did that because I loved you. I believed in you. Hey, hold on just a second. Hold on.
It's all right.
One of the things that I loved most about you and why I did what I did was because I loved you. I believed in you, and the bottom line was, although we were talking about entrepreneurship, it was about the support of entrepreneurs. First and foremost, can't be an entrepreneur if you don't have support. And so my job, you know what? I can't even say job. It was my duty. It was my responsibility to make sure that young folks had access to support, whatever support would look like. So, and I just loved your energy. So you will have my support. You will have my support no matter what you do, no matter what. So that was one of the reasons why I enjoy you so much, love you so much for the work that you continue to do. That's all, man. That's all.
Much appreciated, man. I definitely thank you for that.
Yeah. So let's go back to some other takeaways that you enjoyed about minding our business.
Another one was really just the knowledge that we got. I don't think a lot of people understood at the time. I mean, obviously now we were all kids.
Yes.
The opportunity that was coming our way.
Yes.
Because a program like this was created in a city that a lot of people try to forget about.
Yes.
And when you look at Trenton, New Jersey, and you talk about Trenton, there's a lot of talented people in that 7-mile radius
yes.
of a city. And the problem is a lot of us just don't have the proper outlets to get our talent showcased.
Yes.
MOB provided an outlet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Early.
And the other thing too that's interesting too is that and I can't say this with a whole lot of certainty, but I feel confident when I say this, that when MOB came around in 1997, nobody was really thinking about entrepreneurship, at least teaching it to middle school students.
Right. Absolutely.
I cannot say for certainty that there was anyone in the city of Trenton talking about entrepreneurship. And I think even till this day, no one talks much about entrepreneurship as much as Minding Our Business did and does. You know?
No, not really. I mean, when you look at the city, you have MOB, you have Tracy Syfax, who's affiliated with the program. You have John Harmon, who's affiliated with the program.
Yeah.
And Calvin Thomas,
who's affiliated with the program. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
you know,
but again, nobody was really talking about entrepreneurship. So MOB created this platform.
Created the model.
Exactly. Created the model, the platform that entrepreneurship was the new thing, right? And now you can't get people to shut up about entrepreneurship.
and what's even more cool about that, you didn't do it with the current generation of that time. You did it with the young generation of that time. And we're all now adults.
Yes.
So, you know, you can imagine just being in a room with 20 of us and just be like, man, look at the future millionaires that are in this room.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean?
And sometimes it wasn't look at the future millionaires like, let me just get past this one day because these guys going to kill me. They're just going to run me right.
Oh, yeah, we were knuckleheads. We were knuckleheads. To this day, I don't know whether it was Mr. Kev or Dr. Hernandez. I don't know whose bright idea it was to get 8 to 10 of us on a campus for the advanced program. Where we could stay on campus for a week. I have no idea who had that idea. And I'm pretty sure by the end of that first summer, they regretted it.
No, that was my idea. I enjoyed it. And I think it's still the right move to do, man, in terms of exposure, right?
Well, I don't mean regretting that aspect, but I'm saying we contributed to some gray hairs on that goatee over there.
Yeah, or bald head now. Or bald head now, but those, you know, and so me now, as we're moving into our 25th year, right? I'm looking at MOB 2.0, where some of the students, such as yourself, could come back and actually become facilitators. I'm looking at having a regional or national model where the success that we've had here locally, we can begin to push it out to other states. Because again, my limited research, nobody is doing this. Nobody is doing this, and still what we offer is very much viable. And we've got the legwork. We've got as the kids say, we've got the receipts to show that this works. I've got you.
Absolutely.
For instance, you know, you are a father, you are an entrepreneur, you're a podcaster, you are many things. But you are in all things quite successful, and so we just need to continue to showcase you. And I think that we could be a national model in no time soon. So that is the second generation of my goal now, as far as MOB, to really have a national platform for Minding Our Business. And so hopefully with your help and with this podcast, we're going to do those things, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm on board.
Yeah. Now let me ask this question. What's needed for you, or what was needed for you to be or to feel successful as an entrepreneur?
I mean, honestly, right now, in what I do today is just having the right team.
Okay.
Having the right team around me.
Yes.
And realizing that I'm just one person.
Yes.
No matter how many ideas I have and, you know, what direction I may want to go.
Yes.
There's 24 hours in a day and I'm just one person.
Yes.
So, like with my book writing, I had to have that editor that was willing to pick up every single call I give her.
Yes.
You know, I had to have that cover designer that was willing to pick up any call.
Yes.
You know, now I'm to the point where I'm starting to learn how to do covers on my own. I'm in the midst of taking a class.
Yes.
To do that. I actually interviewed a young lady on my show who taught the class.
Okay.
So, you know, it's fun. It's a lot of fun, very informative, but it's also a little difficult.
Yes.
So, you know, I'm putting a lot of time into that. But in the midst of that, really just having the right team
Got you.
is what helped me go a long way.
Now because this is the Entrepreneur Enclave, I got to ask this question: how important, as to when you were developing the team, was the business plan for you?
Oh, the business plan was everything.
Okay.
It was everything, because the minute I started to get off course,
yes,
I had to look at that business plan to remember what the game plan was.
Yes, I love it. Very true.
And we learned that, like I said, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's another thing. These business plan competitions that we had, I was in 3 of them.
Yes.
Top 5, 3 years in a row. So,
yes.
That all roads lead back to MOB.
Oh, come on. Say it again, brother. All roads. Thank you, brother.
All roads lead back to MOB.
The genesis. Yes.
You can ask any of us, and I'm sure we will all tell you that we are profoundly grateful.
Yes. And I am
for what we were taught.
And I'm profoundly grateful to having the opportunity to be a part of the whole teaching model for you guys. Absolutely. Let me ask this question. What is the genre of writing that you do?
You know what? It's actually more than one.
Okay.
I started with urban fiction.
Yes.
And, it really wasn't so much by choice.
Yes.
It's just something that, I knew the most.
Yes.
When you watch these films, when you listen to the music that we listened to as kids back then,
yes,
it's all considered urban.
Okay.
And one thing that I did, especially in the beginning, was I tried my best to bridge the gap between the music and films
yes,
and the books.
Got you.
So started off with urban. I did a couple books of erotica.
Yes.
I like that too. The audience is much bigger now than what it was when I started.
Yes.
Poetry.
Yeah, okay.
Poetry as well. I'm working on a poetry book. That'll be out soon.
Okay.
And also, this is the next generation. My oldest daughter, she just turned 11.
Wow.
And her mother called me one day and she said, "Hey, your daughter wants to write books too?"
Wow.
I said, "Really? Put her on the phone."
Okay.
And she jumped on the phone and said, "Yeah, Dad, I got some children's book ideas." I said, "Listen, get with your mom. I'm going to make sure you get a computer. And if you're serious, start writing some stuff down.
Yes.
Let your dad see it.
Yes. And
if we come up with a couple of ideas we both like, I'll get in touch with the illustrator and we'll make it happen." So in the future, we may have some children's books.
Wow. I love it.
And also self-help. Okay. I really want to get into self-help as well, because this is going back to the podcast. When I first started my show, I did 2 episodes where I counted down the 10 elements of being unapologetic.
Yes.
And those 2 episodes were so popular in the beginning that I just came up with an idea like, yeah, we can make this into a book.
Yes.
Because with each element that I put out there, I have personal accounts or experiences that can go with each element.
Yes.
So self-help will be the next genre. So I got about 5 or 6 genres I'll touch on.
Okay. Now I want to ask a dual question, right? What was it about entrepreneurship that was so exciting about for you beyond that of making money?
It's more appropriate to talk about now that I'm an adult.
Okay.
But as a child, I just hated being told what to do.
Got you. Yes.
You know what I mean? Outside of my mother,
Yes.
We're not going to disrespect mom, but when it comes down to like working a 9 to 5, none of us really want to be told what to do all day.
Yes.
To add to that point, I had a coworker of mine tell me when I told him a lot of the stuff that I'm doing business-wise.
Yes.
He said it's always important to build yourself up and not work your whole life building up someone else.
Very true. Very true.
So those 2 elements is something that's been in my head since I was a kid, man, to be honest.
Okay.
And you had a lot to do with that.
Okay. Thank you.
You know, when I first started the program in 2003, there were 2 teachers.
Yeah.
You had Mr. Kev and Miss Jones. I haven't seen Miss Jones in a long time.
Yeah, Miss
But
Shaki,
mhm.
Miss Jones, yes.
But I was in your class,
Yes.
and it felt like, I don't know. It felt like we had that type of, mentor student connection from the beginning. There were a lot of kids in the class that were just there to be there.
Yes.
And you zeroed in on me in ways that I didn't appreciate back then. But if I didn't have that type of discipline put on me at the time,
Yes.
I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Understood.
Because I was one of those kids that loved to be in the background. I would be, instead of the front 3 rows, I would be in the last 3 rows of the class.
Yes, sir.
And every day you would find me.
Yes, sir.
You would go through the roll call. Hey, where's Foreman?
Yes,
I
sir.
put my hand. What are you doing back there, man? Get up here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And now, I'm in the second row, or sometimes even the first row.
Yes, sir.
And I had to do the walk through the whole class, kids looking at me laughing or whatever. But if I didn't have that, I honestly wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I needed that discipline.
Absolutely. Well,
Definitely.
the thing was, you were, in spite of how hard it may have seemed, you were reachable, you were teachable, right? And
Right.
when young folks are reachable, teachable, the world opens up for them. And that was
Absolutely.
that was just it. So what do you think young folks are aspiring to do today? Do you think that you have an influence over some of our young folks with your writing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's actually an influence that had to grow on me.
Yes.
Because a lot of my writing isn't geared towards kids younger than 18.
Yes.
I'm changing that now. I also do some teen fiction as well.
Yes.
Where I try to incorporate some storylines for, teenagers.
Yes.
But I'll never forget, man, it was around 2017. I had a kid walk up to me, and it's early in the morning. It's about 8 o'clock. I'm on my way to work because I worked 10 years with the Trenton Board of Education.
Yes.
As a teacher assistant.
Yes.
So walking to the car, and this kid run up to me. He couldn't have been no older than 12, 13 years old. And he's like, man, I know you. I just read one of your books. And I'm looking at him like, you just read one of my books?
Yes.
You shouldn't have no idea what my books even look like.
Yes.
So I asked him, I said, what book did you read?
Yes.
And he told me the title. I said, what? How did you get that book?
Yes.
And he told me, well, I took my mom's Kindle off her nightstand, her tablet, and I was reading a couple of her books. So you stole your mom's Kindle.
Wow.
And you started reading my stuff.
Wow.
Well, okay. I didn't know whether to say thank you or to feel bad. So I said, you know what? Tell your mom I said thank you.
Yes.
But you try to stay away from stuff like that. That wasn't meant for you.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm working on stuff for your age bracket.
Got you.
Give me some time.
So speaking of age bracket, so 3 years from now, where do you hope to be with your publications?
3 years from now, I hope to have a bigger audience.
Okay.
I'm looking to sign some new authors. I have 2 authors under me right now.
Yes.
With my own company.
Yes.
But just looking to grow and expand.
Okay.
When you look at the industry right now, the urban lit industry, or just Black authors as a whole,
yes,
is wide open.
Okay.
It's so much opportunity out here. So what I'm looking to do is travel a bit more.
Yes.
Hit some more expos, like the Black Author Expo that's down south, or
yes,
the Harlem Book Fair in New York every summer.
Yes. And
really just put more eyes on my brand, and then also incorporate my podcast.
Got you.
Just last month, I spoke to people who run 2 different book expos, one in Miami and one in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And they're fans of my show.
Okay. Awesome.
but they also knew that I wrote books as well. So I said, listen, next year I want to come out and showcase my work,
Yes.
but I also want to bring my podcast with me.
Yes.
So can we work on a way where I get like 2 tables and I have my table for my books,
Yes.
but the other table, I bring my equipment and try to, interview people while we're in the midst of the event.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Love the idea. Yeah.
So I'm working on that. And actually I have a whole year to get it right.
Yeah. Now,
So, that's what I'll be working on in the fall, winter, and spring.
Now, do you find that more folks of color are writing or reading and writing books these days?
I do.
Okay.
I do. The media will never want you to believe that.
Yes.
But I do. I do. Obviously, with social media, there's not as many people reading as we could have.
Yes.
But at the same time, as social media grows, technology grows.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily have to sit at home with a book in your face.
Yes.
You can have a tablet now.
Mm-hmm.
You can read on your iPad. You can read on your Kindle.
Mm-hmm.
Barnes and Noble, they have what you call a Nook.
Yes.
You can read on just about anything these days, and you can read what you like.
Yes.
That was the problem for a lot of us in my generation when we were kids. We weren't able to read what we liked.
Yes.
We had to read what was chosen for us in school.
Yes.
We didn't start getting our hands on what we might like until we were in high school.
Wow. And so,
you know what I mean?
When you were in high school, what were some of the things that you enjoyed reading?
To be honest, I was more of a autobiographical type of person.
Okay.
And I'm still like that today. Like, one of my favorite things to do is to watch documentaries.
Okay.
I don't like to be a person that talks about celebrities or people that are, in the spotlight without actually knowing about them and knowing about their journey.
Yes.
So I'll watch a doc all day, or I'll read a autobiography that they may have penned, or like a memoir, something like that.
Gotcha.
That was the first thing that kind of drew me.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, urban fiction.
Okay.
So when you look at it, Wahida Clark, who's also from Trenton, New Jersey, Sister Soldier.
Oh, yes.
There's a married couple from Flint, Michigan. Their names are Ashley and Jaquavis.
Okay.
They have a number of great books that are out. And 2 guys from New York, Carl Weber and Kawan. Those were the small group of authors that I really, was drawn to at that age.
Okay. Okay. Now let me ask this question, right? So as the market grows, as you begin to have greater penetration, what does that look like on the amount of books that you're writing? So how many books are you writing a month? Not a month, but how many books are you writing a year?
My last full year of writing was in 2020.
Okay.
And I put out 4 books that year.
And that was because you saw the market growing, or you saw that there was a greater need for your book or for your books, for your writing?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
A little bit of both.
Okay.
The market is always growing.
Okay.
The market is always growing. When I look at how it looks now compared to what it did in 2013,
yes,
when I got my first publishing deal, there's thousands of new authors out there.
Gotcha.
And when I say new author, I'm talking about someone who has 10 books or less.
Gotcha. Now, so Foreman, how do you? Is the market crowded? Is the writing market crowded? Or is
there's a little bit of saturation there.
Okay.
There's a little bit of saturation there, and it's really because a lot of people who started out as fans of it started writing themselves but couldn't secure an editor.
Got you.
So a lot of times people will step into it thinking that it's easy to do.
Yes.
And it's not. It's not that easy to do.
Got you.
So
how do you keep yourself relevant in that space, and how do you step above or grow, I guess, above the minutia of other writers? How do you do that?
Never step out of my lane.
Gotcha.
Continue to be me.
Got you.
That's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of authors make,
Yes.
is that they try to step out of their lane
Yes.
and do something other than what got them to that point.
Got you. Got you.
You know, I was guilty of that years ago, and I had to get back into my lane.
Okay.
So, you know, that's one of the main things that I focus on, just being me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what genre, you know, an Elijah Foreman book,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
no matter which one you read,
Got you.
because, you know, my pen speaks for itself.
Yes.
And that comes from practice. You know, it was a God-given talent, but at the end of the day, if you're not writing something every day, it's very easy to get rusty.
Yes.
You know, that's no different than being an athlete, being a singer, you know, actor, down to a doctor and lawyer. If you're not doing what you're getting paid to do every day, you're going to fall flat at some point. You're going to get rusty at some point and have to pick it back up. So, you know, I try to stay focused on my craft day in and day out, especially for that year when I took off. Doesn't mean I wasn't writing. It just didn't come out.
But let me,
you know.
So when you do take a break, what does a break look like for a writer? Are you doodling? Are you coming up with other thoughts? Or are you just totally putting the pen down?
Let me tell you, a break can be very scary.
Yes.
Because when you're taking a break, you have the authors that are, you know, continuing to thrive while you're pressing the pause button.
Yes.
You have readers that are contacting you every day, like, what happened to you? Where are you at?
Yes.
We're waiting for part 3 of this series and stuff like that.
Yes.
So now that puts in your mind, oh my God, they're waiting for me. I gotta hurry up. I gotta do this. I gotta do that.
Yes.
So it adds a little stress. And then, you know, it's almost like your life moving in slow motion for a second while everything outside is going fast.
Yes.
Everything outside is moving 100 miles an hour.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, when I took my break, I was doodling a lot. I was coming up with a lot of different ideas.
Okay.
Right now, I have about 8 to 10 book ideas that were formulated during my break.
Got you. Got you.
And now I'm just getting to the point where a couple of them are almost done.
Okay. Now, how long does it take you to generate an idea and to move that idea to fruition to a full book? How long does that take usually?
It honestly depends on the vibe of the individual.
Okay.
Because every author works differently.
Okay.
You got some people that are great at freestyling.
Yes.
And, you know, what freestyling, you know, while writing a book means, you sit at this computer and you write 5 chapters with no type of outline or anything.
Yes.
Right? You come back to the same computer tomorrow and without formulating any type of idea to add on to the book, you read that last couple of pages so you can get back into that thought and you continue.
Got you.
You got some authors who are great at that. My first 10 books were freestyle.
Got you. Got you.
As I got older, I tried to, you know, implement more outlining.
Yes.
Because sometimes, you know, I could lose an idea.
Got you. Got you.
I can lose a thought for a character that could have added to this story.
Yes.
And then, you know, sometimes life can just get in the way to where you can go 2 or 3 days without even touching your laptop and trying to write.
Yes. Now,
so in the midst of that, I try to just make sure I continue to be on point.
Now, are you typically writing with a pen and paper or your laptop?
I outline with a pen and paper, but I'm writing with my laptop.
Got you. Got
you.
Mm-hmm. And for you, is there such a thing as binge writing, you know, where you'll just sit down and write for 10, 12 hours?
It's certain aspects.
Okay.
It's certain aspects. I've done that before.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Gotcha. Now, so you know what? Let's go back to the podcast, right? The podcast is called Unapologetic by Elijah, or with Elijah Foreman. Why the title, and then how do you hope to incorporate your books into your podcast?
Well, the title came about because of a couple of, I don't want to call them disputes, but I guess, disputes or run-ins I had with readers.
Okay.
There was a book that I wrote in 2014, and to this day, the title is cringeworthy.
Yes.
But the title was given to me. The original title I had was The Married Bachelor.
Okay.
And one of the publishers I worked with at the time, they said, yeah, that title's cool, but what about this one? And, it was called Married to a Bitch.
Got you. Yes.
Now, you look at that title and you're like, man, this story is about to be about some hood stuff and characters are about to be doing some type of craziness. I actually took that title and made it like a hip hop love story. Now, when I put it out, that title was on the top of the urban charts. It was in the top 10 for almost a month.
Wow.
So the popularity as far as the storyline was big, but it was quite a few females that were on that title.
Gotcha.
They couldn't get past the title.
Got you.
So I was contacted one day on Facebook, and I had like 2 or 3 different females tell me that they didn't like the title, so they didn't read the book.
Okay.
And they didn't appreciate somebody putting a word like that on the title.
Yes.
And, who do you think you are? No women are the B word or anything like that.
Yes.
So at that time, I was 22 years old. I was so dedicated to trying to please everybody.
Yes.
That was my goal.
Yes.
Pleasing everybody and making sure that nobody felt that I was leaving them out.
Yes.
So at that moment, I apologized for how they were feeling.
Got you.
I apologized for how they were feeling. I said, you know what? Maybe next project, I have something that you can enjoy.
Yes.
When I started thinking about my podcast, the title of my podcast, I thought about that conversation.
Yes.
And then at that point, being 29, I was looking at the 22-year-old me, and I'm like, man, if I could do that over. If I could do that over.
Yes.
Because the thing that made me upset as 29, 30 years old now is the fact that we all watch stuff that is edgy or a little bit too blue.
Yes.
R-rated movies. We listen to explicit lyrics. We watch explicit stuff on YouTube or Instagram, TikTok all day.
Yes.
But you took time out of your day to tell me what I shouldn't put in the title of a book.
Yes.
Knowing that you read the book anyway, and there's 1,000 curse words in the book.
Yes.
So Unapologetic was created from that. And, the tagline underneath it is never apologize for being great.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the conversation wasn't about my pen. It wasn't about how great of a story I wrote.
Yes.
It was about one word that you didn't like in the title.
Yes.
And that was the frustration that, bubbled inside of me when I was coming up with the idea for the show.
Understood. Wow. Crazy, man. But I love the title of the podcast. What can we hope to hear from you for your podcast? Because in the beginning you told us the different areas that you're going to be touching, but what's your favorite though? What's your favorite area within the podcast?
The favorite area of the podcast for me has to be at the table.
Okay.
Where I'm having one-on-one conversations with, fellow authors, along with, a number of different other type of artists.
Yes.
Because for one, I get to let my hair down. I don't have to be so professional per se.
Yes.
I'm having a conversation with my peer.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of these people I'm fans of.
Yes.
So I get to sit down and really dissect their journey in ways that other people, you know, get to dissect mine,
I love
that
it.
listen
Yes.
to me
Yes.
or, you know, have a conversation with me.
Yes.
So I get to step into the fan seat,
Got you.
you know, and I love that.
Got you.
I love it.
So let's go back to the beginning and come back to the end. In the next 3 to 5 years, what can we expect from you on the writing side, and what can we expect from you on the podcasting side? And have you ever thought about writing some screenplays?
You pretty much just answered the question.
Oh, okay.
The next 3 to 5 years, screenplays are being written as we speak.
Yes. All right. Wow.
You know, it's crazy because I did 3 interviews in my first season
Yes.
with 3 young ladies who started out as authors, but ended up getting into filmmaking. And the ironic thing about that is 2 of the 3 are working together.
Wow. But you didn't know that though.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that until I got to the second interview.
Wow.
So the universe is telling me something right now.
Yes.
The universe is telling me something right now. And I'm listening.
Absolutely.
I'm definitely listening. Because to
Absolutely.
be able to have conversations with people who are in that field and thriving in that field,
Yes.
you know, of independent filmmaking, it lets me know that 1 is possible
Yes.
and 2 is possible now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's nothing that we have to wait on,
Yes.
especially with all these different platforms that are out here. You don't necessarily have to make a movie that's going to go to theaters.
Yes.
You got Tubi TV, you got Amazon Prime, you got Hulu,
Yes.
you got Netflix,
Yes.
you got YouTube.
Yes.
There's a number of different platforms out here. It's just about getting the right team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now,
Um,
before we end, give us tell us who you would like to give some shout outs to.
First and foremost, I got to shout out all of my classmates from MOB.
Yes, sir.
That's where we start at.
Yes.
Andre McNair, Quayshawn Williams,
Yes, sir.
Ben Trees Jusu,
Yes.
Cameron Smith, Daquan Potton, Big Mike Williams, LaJaira Thomas, Nikita Williamson. I can go on and on.
Yes, sir.
Everybody
Yes.
that has ever sat in the classroom with me as a child or adult, shout out to you all because we're all thriving right now.
Yes, sir.
We're all thriving. Lakeisha Sutton and my man Eric, I can't forget about y'all too.
Yes.
And Lamar Rice. Shout out to all 3 of them.
Yes, sir.
I love it. We're all thriving. I love to see what I see on social media these days
Yes.
because everybody is bringing their A game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And everybody's challenging each other
Yes.
to bring that A game.
Yes.
And that's what we need right now.
Yes.
That's what we need right now.
Now.
Also, quick shout out to my daughters,
Yes.
Shirley, Simone, Maya. I love all 3 of you girls.
Yes.
I do it for y'all.
Yes.
I do it for y'all.
I love it, man.
Who else, man? My lady Michelle for dealing with me, all my craziness.
Yes, sir.
I am no day at the beach to deal with.
Yes.
So quick shout out to her. And also anybody who believes in unapologetic right now,
Yes.
because you guys are the reason why I continue to do it, even after some things got rocky
Yes.
that we're not going to touch on. But
Yes.
you guys are the reason why I continue to do it when stuff got tough.
Absolutely.
And I hope that you guys are with me when the show grows and
Yes.
becomes something bigger than what it is now.
And they'll help you to help it grow.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. Listen, man, I wanna thank you for gracing us on this platform, this podcast. I want to thank you for being part of the family now, and we're going to try to grow this family, and we're going to try to get more podcasters to be a part of this as well as we move forward. But
absolutely, man.
I could not be more. And I'm going to mess up my grammar. I could not be more prouder of you than I am at this moment, man. I love following you on Facebook. And just hearing and seeing and just reading all the great things that you're doing. And I'm always reminded of as to how it began. So thank you, man. So I send nothing but blessings and constant success to you.
Thank you guys, man.
Yes,
thank you guys. You know, like I said earlier, who would have thought?
Yeah.
You know, you guys stepped into a fifth grade class.
Yes.
You know, and I think it kind of escapes people how crazy that is, and how, you know, not crazy, but amazing that is, that Dr. Hernandez had an idea, you enforced the idea, and it's not just me, it's hundreds of kids that y'all helped over the last 25 years who are much better off.
Well, you know what
and doing things that are much more positive with themselves.
The number is somewhere around 10,000.
Thousands of kids. Then there you go.
Yeah, because
there you go.
You look at Trenton, you look at Perth Amboy, you look at Asbury, you look at Vineland, and then all the other ancillary programs that we've done over the 25 years, and there you have it. There you have
and you know what that should tell anybody listening to this?
Yep.
That should tell you to never pay attention to the seed that you drop in the dirt.
Yes.
Don't pay attention to how small that is.
Yes.
Because you never know how big of a tree you might get out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's the gist of it right there.
Yeah. We're gonna end on that note, brother.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Foreman, you have been real. I love you, man. Thank you for gracing this platform, man.
Love you more, man. Appreciate you for having me.
Yes, sir. We're going to talk and text in a minute, man.
All right.
All right. Peace now.
That concludes another episode of The Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.